Dear students, after a long time, I've been on the camera for your sake. Okay, so this is second video of the biodiversity and conservation. So in the last class, we have studied about the patterns of biodiversity. In the patterns of biodiversity, I have discussed about the latitudinal gradients of the biodiversity. Now in this video, we'll be dealing with the pattern of biodiversity second topic, that is species area relationship, and also the importance and estimation of the species on the global and in the IUCN recording, and also in the some of the species of the red data. And with that, we will also learn a few points regarding loss of biodiversity also in this video. So let us get into the video one by one. So first, I told you, no, as I said you, the second topic in the patterns of biodiversity, it is species area relationship. So in species area relationship, Humboldt was a person who studied and proposed a statement or a postulate regarding that of the a species area relationship. So according to his study, Alexander Humboldt, here is the picture I have shown, is the Humboldt, that is Alexander Humboldt in South American jungles. He started to do his research. So when he studied on the South American jungles within a region, he found that species richness increases with increasing explored area, but only up to a limit. So what do you mean by this? See, accordingly, a graph also I'll be discussing with you. But Humboldt says that when the area increases, as the area increases, even the species number increases, species diversity increases, different types of species we can see in the growth also. So this what it is. Like expedition we tell, no, in those days, has the king started establishing their kingdom, we started to have their kingdom enlarging with increase in population also. In the same way, what is species richness means, has the area increases with that of the plants, vegetation, everything, even the species accumulation, species multiplication increases, but also it will be to an limit. What is this word limit means? Limit means actually the availability of the water might be, availability of the food might be. Accordingly, the existence of the species also depends, it tells. Not only when there is increase in the area, the number of species increases. With the accounting with the environment also, the species richness increases. That what he means to tell the word limit. Okay, we'll move to the next. Okay, so in this slide, I have shown you the graph. The graph is regarding the species area relationship. So what did Humboldt tell? As there is an increase in the area, there is increase in the species level. That is the richness. So the word richness means increase in the number of the species only. We call it as the richness. So here, relationship between the species richness and the area is given in a rectangular parabola. So this blue line indicates the rectangular parabola. Then S is equal to C A Z B. This is, it is a log property. Now coming to the graph, at one side you can see this is the area. Okay, as there is increase in the area. Okay, there is increase in the species richness also. So this side we have shown the species richness. When it corresponds, you get a straight line here. So in this straight line, it is the log S, the formula, it is given in the form of an equation telling log S is equal to log C plus Z log A. So what is the log C plus Z plus log A? That means S represents the species richness. So when we correspond this, we get a straight line. See, as the area increases, even the number of species also increases. It is shown in the equation as such here. So S represents species richness, A represent area, and C represents the y-intercept. What is Z? Z represents the slope of line. Slope of line means as the area increases and the species richness increases, the slope will be to the deeper. Okay, so that's what we are trying to tell you in an equation. So log Z, that is a species richness, is equal to the y-intercept plus slope of a line with the log A means area. So this is the meaning of this what is the graph, and I think so you have understood what is rectangular parabola. So it represents the rectangular parabola which is represented by the blue line. So a pink line represents what a straight line is formed. It is in a logarithmic scale which shows the relationship is a straight line. So the equation is, you have understood the equation, I believe. It is log Z, S is equal to log C plus Z log A. Okay. Okay. That is regarding the relationship between species richness and the area. Okay. So in the same way, when we consider in a particular area, if it is in a small area, what will be the measurement I have put here? So here as an area increases, I have told you, even the species richness increases. So generally for a small areas, the Z value will be 0.1 to 0.2. But if it in a large area, okay, if the area increases, what I have told you, as the area increases, this line goes into steeper to steeper. The slope line is steeper. Okay, it increases. Slope line increases means it is understood the species number increases. So that's what we are trying to tell you. In the large areas, in an entire continent, if you estimate the species level, the slope of the line is steeper. So as it increases in its length, so Z value will be usually 0.6 to 1.2. Okay. Example we have given here, frugivorous birds. What is this frugivorous birds means? That is a fruit eating birds and the mammals are called as a frugivorous birds and the mammals. In the tropical forest of the different continents, when we measure those species which are dependent upon the fruits in those tropical forests, you can see there will be multiplication of those birds and mammals because the breeding level will be more. As the area is more, availability of the food is more. In the such continent, Z value will be 0.1 into 1.5. Okay, 1.15 will be the Z value. So these three differences we are trying to show you to make you to understand that as the area increases, even species number increases. That what we mean by species richness. Okay. Okay, I believe we have understood the that topic, that is a pattern of biodiversity. In the pattern of biodiversity, the second topic was regarding the species area relationship. So now we have understood. Now as the area increases, species levels also increases. That is the richness of that area. Now next is the importance of the species diversity. Now when we talk about the species diversity, it does not mean a single species. Now when we consider a species means it might be animals, it might be birds, it might be many other mammals, including us also. So that what we show the importance of the species diversity. Where in this study, it was fellow David Tillman. He gives a statement telling that if you plot with more species, it shows a lesser year-to-year variation in the total biomass. So what do you mean by this? See, as more species exist, there will be difficulty for the scarcity for the food also. Might be area increases, but as I told you, there might be a lot of problem for the survivability also. There will be the variation in the total biomass. Total biomass means the natural resources may go down or it becomes lesser and lesser. The total biomass of the biosphere will become lesser due to the increase in the number of species. When the population increases, in the same way, according to the population, the availability, basic needs also should increase. If basic needs are not being given, that population will become day by day it will go down. Are you understanding? That means death may occur. If there is no availability of food, there is no availability of proper shelter, the population will explode or it will decrease. That what he is trying to tell. When you plot with more species in a, if you take a forest also, the number of species increases, the food chain does not occur. So food chain is a cycle, one animal eats the other and the ecosystem is been balanced. Now there is no food chain. You believe there is no food chain. All the species, no animals are eating the another animal. The animals are dependent on the natural plant resources, you believe. Now as the number of species increases, there will be lesser, shows lesser year to year in the variation of the total biomass. So that what was been said by the David Tillman. Okay, so that what I have the picture I have put. This is the second picture. First is David Tillman. The second is the resource. Okay, the biomass, the resource we need, and the thirdly increase in the number of species. So as the number of species increases also, in the availability of the area also, there should be availability of all basics. If that accountability is less, then there will be variation in the total mass. Year by year, it will go on decreasing. So another side, he also tells when there is increased in the diversity contributes to the higher productivity. What is that higher productivity? If on a food cycle, I mean a food chain or a food web goes in a regular pattern, ecosystem is balanced, then the productivity increases. So it is also essential for an ecosystem to be healthy, means there has to be balanced food chain, balanced food web, and that can be for the survival of human race. If this balancing does not occur, then human survival will become very risky. Okay, that's what he tries to explain. Okay. Next, coming to the importance of the species diversity, the regarding the species diversity, whatever the Tiltman has said regarding when there is a increase in the area, increase in the number of species, availability of basic needs also is been important. Environment may be, climate might be, food might be, or the maintaining of the food chain might be. In the same way, Paul Ehrlich, okay, Paul Ehrlich also finds an analogy and he gives a very good example for that. So here what he has mentioned in this picture, you can see it is nothing but the food web. That means 3 to 4 food chain, when it is combined, we call it as food web. So when this food web is maintained in the ecosystem, that means the ecosystem is completely balanced and there won't be hurdle within a availability or scarcity of the food and other things of the natural resources, and the survivability of the human also can be to an what do you tell, accurate. So he used an analogy and he used to understand the importance of the biodiversity. So this was being proposed by Stanford ecologist, that is Paul Ehrlich. So in this photo we are seeing Paul Ehrlich. So what was the analogy he gave also? I will tell you. Okay. So he proposed a rivet popper hypothesis. So in this picture, you can see one plane is there below, one pond ecosystem is that of the terrestrial ecosystem we have shown you. So here he gives an example that consider aeroplane, I mean airplane to be as a one of the ecosystem. So when you consider an airplane to be in a one of the ecosystem, all parts are being joined together using the rivets. So rivets, he compares the rivets with the species. Now, if a passenger pop a rivet means he, pulls and throw it off, or he demolishes. As there is one by one, the passengers removes the pop up with the rivet in an ecosystem. One after the other, the species go on dying. So, what will happen? Will that ecosystem will remain proper? Will that food chain of that ecosystem is balanced? Or not, he explains by the Rivert Popper hypothesis. Now, throughout the line, one by one, Okay, you believe wings are being fallen, behind wings are being fallen, that side wings are being fallen, the passenger inside the pull out each by each the pop of a rivet and throw from the air, and suddenly what will happen, the flight will balance will go off. When the flight balance affects, there won't be safety of the flight, and definitely it will go and crash. When it crash, the passenger or also have to die. So that what he means with the ecosystem. See, has one by one the species are being killed. How they are being killed? How they are being killed? Because of the pollution. When we take the topic pollution, we are polluting our own river, we are polluting our own land, we are polluting our own air. By these things, what happened? Most of the organisms are dying. Even today, most of the birds we are showing our children in the picture. For you also, some of the birds we show in the picture. Example, I'll give you. In Bangalore, we don't see sparrow only, and hardly we see in Gokak one or two. Where is sparrow? And we can see only 3 to 4 birds there, that is such as a crow, vulture. Okay, so then grown which are being in the ecosystem are getting vanished off. When these species get vanished off, they are all in the food chain and the food cycle. I told you, know, when it is not balanced, the ecosystem is completely destroyed. As he gave us the example of the aeroplane. So that what he tells, it affects as one by one the rivet is being pulled off, the flight will get into crash and it affects again the passenger. In the same way, passengers means that is we, the humans. For the survivability, we should have a better ecosystem. So that what he explained with an taking an example of an airplane. So, but as more and more rivets are being removed, so what happened? The plane becomes dangerously weak and it get into a crash. So this is what we are doing with the ecosystem. This is what occurs if the species are being lost, it tries to tell. Okay, see here you can see. So I told you know already, I have explained loss of the rivets on the like wings key species. If the key species see in a river bed, most of them are in the sea or a river, any ecosystem. On the fishes as an edible food, most of them are dependent. If that completely all the fishes dies, phytoplankton is not available in the river or on a seabed, the fishes will get into vanished. When the fishes get into vanished, the smaller fishes vanish, the larger fishes also will become die. Why? Because they don't have the food. They are dependent upon the small fishes for food. When they die, this also will die. When those dies, then there will be availability of the food decreases even for the human. So that what he has explained regarding comparing the aeroplane with an ecosystem. Okay. So coming to the loss of biodiversity. In the loss of biodiversity, now as you know, you tell me what is the main reason of loss in the biodiversity? Why organisms are dying? Why we are showing in the future generation for your children also? You will show most of the organism in the picture. Now today some of the tigers are there and there is a campaign also to save the tiger. Now once the all the tiger get vanished, now they tell the white tigers are very less. So all completely tiger has been vanished of that species is only extinct. When that species get into extinct in the next generation for your kids, what you'll show? This is tiger and that is lion. See, this what will happen. How to save our biodiversity, it is all depend on us only. As a human, we have to take a step to conserve the forest, conserve the natural resources, avoid using plastic. Everywhere there is an announcement, there is an sounding, but do we still go for it? We never go for it because we need the comfortability. We don't think about the next generation, their comfortability. Today we are living, we need our comfortability. That is the main reason for the loss of biodiversity. That's why the animals surrounding us also, they are dying day by day. So see here. So loss of biodiversity. When you think of loss of biodiversity, this all are the animals. I think so some of you would have been seen, some of you would have been seen. Here the picture we have given is a dodo, quagga even I have not seen, Thalassian, then stellar sea cow, then Bailey tiger. So these are there is a threat for the extinct of this organism. What do you mean by extinct? Extinct means they are no more. That what I am showing you in a picture. I cannot get you into a zoo and show you because they are not available also. If you take for when we used to go for botanical trip or zoological trip also, our teacher used to show us many organisms and many animals, types of birds. Now those number are also decreasing. That means now they'll put in a museum the picture or the skeleton of it, the fossil record, and they tell these were the animals, these were the birds which were existing. Now we read no the dinosaurs existence. So in evolution, I have told you they have gotten I mean fossil of a dinosaurs. So now the dinosaurs is not there. So in the same way, if this continues, if this level of pollution continues, and there will be definitely loss of biodiversity, the natural resources, going on mining for the gold, for the other minerals, going on digging the earth, as we destroy the natural resources, finally all the species are destroyed. Even among the species, we are also the one, even we will also be destroyed. This is what will happen. So what these chapters are get to know which are the threatened organism, which are the organism which are extinct, which are the organism at the vulnerable rate of extincting, which have become the rare species. This all record some of the animals which are already are extinct. Extinct means which are not existing are being placed into the red data book. That is, the red data book will be maintained by the IUCN. I told you what is IUCN. IUCN means International Union of Conservation of Nature and Natural Resources. So this is an board which maintains the record of an extinct animals, which we call it as red data book, and now it is also known as a red list. So in IUCN red list of 2004, I have given a data here. It says like 784 species, 338 vertebrates, then 359 invertebrates, and 87 plants are extinct in the last 500 years. We know hardly some invertebrates where you have learned in the first year of the phylum. I have shown those organisms in the some of them in the laboratory as an example. And then there are millions of plants and plants also. So which are extinct also we don't know. Like that it is. So here they tell in 500 years in the red list of 2004. Now what is the date of now it is the era of 220. So 2020 in 2020 if they take an estimation how many species are already extinct, we should be knowing, we should have an estimation, then only we can save our own biodiversity. So these all are the readings to tell you to save the environment. Why there is a last fourth chapter of ecology completely they have stored the 24 hours for you to understand what is biodiversity, what is the need of natural resources for us and for our future generation. So where extinct in the last 500 years, nearly how many species are being vanished out, they are all only in the pictures, and some of the fossils are being collected and kept in the museum, which are being in the IUCN red list. So they are examples. Some of the example in the picture I have shown, that is Todo in Mauritius, Quagga of Africa, Thalassian of Australia, Stellar sea cow of Russia. Then three subspecies, that is Bailey, I told no, tiger, Javan, Caspian of the tiger. So these three species are not available. Now whatever the species we are having, it is different from this species. These three species are not available. All these are extinct. So they are all in the red list categories. Okay. See, Todo. So nice to see, no, like a doll, it appears, Todo. So the characteristic when you see it is in a mixture of both the duck and the hen. So Todo, we don't have. It has been nearly 27 species have disappeared in the last 20 years. So we don't find the Todo. So see the picture. Okay, that's what even you will do in the for your next generation also, even a dog, a cat, snakes and all we will show in the picture, and that's all. Okay, so start now having a high thinking of not using plastics for anything, but what to do, availability of the products are also purchased in plastic, sold in plastic. Early morning if you get up also you start your day with the plastic. What is that? Toothbrush. Yes or no? Yes. So, how to avoid, if you tell, we have to think a lot, go back to the ancient days and adapt those things, then like this diseases will not come in front of us and will not go into online classes because of this corona pandemic, where you're all been on the online classes. So this situations has to eradicated in future generation, means we have to go back and adapt our traditional and cultural, what the culture we have left of our Indian tradition. If you adapt to such things, maybe we can save our own environment, our own biodiversity, and get rid of all these diseases. Okay, so this is quagga. So nice, no? It the characteristic as we see, it is a mixture of a horse and zebra. Okay, like. Donkey and horse, when you read in biotechnology, mule, like that it is in a combination, but it is not cloned, it is a natural or animal. Quagga 15,500 species are face the threat of extinction. When we understand threat of extinction means, that means organisms are still existing. They are having a threat. They will get extincted. Next is a Thailand and Stelar sea cow. So here we have given a percentage of how many are facing the threat of extincting. That is 12% of the birds, 23% mammals, 32% of the amphibian, 31% of the gymnosperm. These species are facing the threat of extinction. Threat of extinction means no more they will be available. So if you save our biodiversity and means only, and conserve the forest only, we can save them. Okay. The next is the Bali tiger, Javan tiger, Caspian tiger. How beautiful, no? They are in the pictures. Even your generations will also see in the pictures and feel happy. But we have seen in zoo and all. Okay, now white tigers also, when you see, you should see such a long body it has with a tail, the way it moves. See, the animals, when we see through the eyes, we understand the type of species existing. Okay, so this all species are current species extincting rate is 100 to 1000 times faster than in the pre-human times. It means we are technologically, as we are growing, we will be start losing the species. So that's what is happening here, I believe. See the rate of extincting, it is from how much, 100 to 1000 times faster it has become from the pre-human times, because in pre-human time technology didn't come into the focusing, and for everything as we tell, when we remember our ancient days of cooking or using the things in the kitchen, might be now everything is fast food. So fast food, fast die, fast get the diseases. So that what it is trying to tell us in the loss of biodiversity. What is that? The rate is 100 to 1000 times faster than in the pre-human times. If this trend continues, nearly half of all species on the earth might be extinct within 100 years. Might be we have completed 50 years of that, in another 50 years it will all get vanished off. So no more species. Evenly in Gokak, if you take an example, 10 years back, so we used to go near Dolls Colony and all. There were like on a forest. We used to see the fox, wolf, snake, peacock. Now the number, even mongoose, number of squirrels. Okay, when we enter that environment, we used to see so many types of animals existing, a real ecosystem. Now there is a acquisition of the land, and as there is urbanization. So this is the main word I should use. The loss of biodiversity, the main reason why species are dying means because of urbanization. Even the most of the ponds are being acquired. So as the pond acquisition goes on, the species under beneath the river water or the pond water are eradicated. So in this way, species level also goes on decreasing. So that's what we are trying to tell. Within in the next 100 years, even what is the species which has been remaining today we are seeing, even that will be lost. Yeah, we'll go to. Okay, so what are the impacts of the loss of biodiversity when we talk? The first point I have as it is decline in the plant production. So how is there is a decline in the plant production when it becomes a urbanization, means when the land acquisition, the field are converted into the land, and the land is that land is used for the building of the buildings, houses and all, that what we call it as urbanization. Even the forest area, they cut the plant trees, that is deforestation occurs. When the occurrence of the deforestation, it also leads to the less rainfall. When there is less rainfall, of course the plant production does not occur. When there is no rain, it leads to the drought. So that what it means with the decline in the plant production. So these all are the reasons which are being connected. Okay, when we tell loss of biodiversity means this all are the impacts of why the species are been dying. What do you mean by the loss? Loss means this only when the plant production decreases. That means tomorrow will not get the plant product. Plant raw material will decrease. Even it will affect the food for the human race, that we are not thinking about. When there is a drought, as an plant production decreases, many organisms, many species will be lost, because most of them will be dependent on the natural resources. They are dependent on the autotrophs, because they are all heterotrophs. So that what is the meaning to tell regarding decline in the plant production. Next is environmental perturbation, such as a drought. So perturbation means when there is an predator, loss of the predator. Loss of predator means in a food cycle or a food chain, one animal is dependent on the other animal for its food. So now a rabbit might be, or all the what is it? All the herbivorous animals or organisms, they are all totally dependent of the producers. That is, what do you mean by the producers? The plants. Now, completely the plant declines. The plant does not grow, and there is no availability of the rainwater, means the growth of the natural producers, the grass might be, the plants might be, it will all will become perished, and the land becomes drought. So at this condition, you don't get the predators. Predators means the food for the another organism, we call them as to be the predators. Now there is no food, predators means there will be no continuity of the food chain. Food web cannot be maintained. When food web is not maintained, that means again it comes to the availability of the food for the again to the human race only. So that what is the meaning of the environmental permutation, such as a drought. Now the third impact is increased variability in ecosystem process, such as plant productivity, water use, and pest and the disease cycles also will be increased. Here they tell you will get a species where plant species or the plant crop where we get all the product are with the pest and the disease cycle. The use of the water scarcity also may occur, and it may increase the variability in plant productivity also, water use also, and also in the pest and the disease cycle it will affect. Which one? The loss of biodiversity will give an effect or impact on all these things. On plant productivity also, it will give an a threat. On the water, so it will give an a threat. And also the pest and the disease cycles. The pest and the disease will increase. It will not decrease. So that what it is said. There will be increased in the variability of the pest and disease cycle. Now we are having, a new type of virus like that. So there will be increased in the pest and the disease cycle. There won't be decrease in this. Okay, so that is the impact of the loss of biodiversity. So that's all for today's class, children. And in the next video, that will be the last concluding video or a topic on biodiversity and conservation chapter, where you will be learning evil quadrat. So evil quadrat means 4. Okay, so those evil quadrat is a major question in the loss of biodiversity, that I'll be explaining in the next class. Okay, thank you, children. Have a good day.